Hello, my name is John Rose, and in today's video I'm going to take a closer look at how to get a shredded or ripped body. Now today is June 15th, 2019, and in 2 days I'm going to be 65 years of age. And 37 years ago I took the rocking chair test. I projected myself into the future as an older guy, reflecting in my life to see, sitting in that rocking chair, what my life would have been like, and did I have any regrets. That was when I was 28 years of age. And the only regrets that I could come up with at that early time in my life was that if I kept doing the thing I was doing, I would not be a happy person. So I decided to change my whole approach to life, and I decided to get out from behind the desk and come outside and start playing. So I've had a ripped body, a shredded body, for 37 years. But the first 4 years, it wasn't the right way. The next 4 years were better. It wasn't until 29 years ago that I found the only way to be healthy and have a shredded body. You see, there's three main ways that we can have a shredded body. And I want to make sure you guys understand there's only one healthy way and there's two unhealthy ways. Now, when I first got shredded, all I did is I started exercising a lot. You see, to understand how to get shredded, you have to understand that losing fat is a lot like Harring's law of cure when it comes to disease. All healing starts from within out, from the head down, in the reverse order in which symptoms appear. So it is with fat. We lose fat in the reverse order in which we put it on. So for men, we gain our weight usually around our abdominal areas to protect our internal organs. Women around their hips and buttocks for reproductive purposes. And of course, different races of people are different. We have apple-shaped and pear-shaped people. But when it comes to losing this weight, we put it here, and when we lose it elsewhere. So the place we put it is the last place we lose it. Think of it like a candle that we're burning on both ends. We put it here, but we lose it here. That's what's going on. So we have the fat that we store in our internal organs around our hip and buttocks for reproductive purposes, but then we have what's called subcutaneous fat. So in order to get that ripped look, so you can see definitions and dimples in your body, to get that shredded look, you have to have low subcutaneous body fat. And again, we lose weight in the reverse order in which we put it on. So the weight we want to lose down here is the last that we finally lose. And I did a video several years ago about the secret to having a flat stomach or flat belly. And we have to understand that there is another way that we gain weight, and it's how most older people gain weight. But now our food's getting so bad, it's happening to the younger generation, and that's when our pipes get plugged up. So to really get shredded and to do it the healthy way, you have to realize there are unhealthy ways of doing it. So 37 years ago, I started playing competitive tennis, started exercising 4 to 6 hours a day. I got in great shape. But then 2 years into that, I realized, boy, I'm getting older, I better really get in shape. So I added a couple hours of off-court training onto that. But then it wasn't another 2 years until I finally read that great book, Eat to Win, by Dr. Robert Haas, which is along the same thinkings as the Game Changers is on, that should have been out in fall last year, and it still hasn't come out yet, where they're showing that all these athletes improve when they go to a plant-based diet because they have more, their epithelial cells get larger, they get more oxygen to their muscles. So they perform better. I learned that lesson back when I was 32 years old. I changed my diet. So again, the first 4 years, I was still eating crap, but I was still shredded. Then the next 4 years, I quit eating the animals, and I got even more shredded. Of course, I added more off-court training onto my routine. But then 4 years after that, that's when I finally found raw food. That's the only way to get shredded. Keeping in mind that you can eat all the raw food you want, but if you've been living the wrong way for a long time, you might have a bunch of junk in your trunk, and you got to get rid of that too. So the only way to be healthy, to be shredded, and to do it in a healthy way is to do it to be healthy. And now, in order to get a shredded look and you're healthy, you just simply have to exercise more. There's no other way around it. I get a lot of comments, and I have recently, about genetics. Sure, genetics plays a huge role in building muscle mass. I've known lots of friends that could never put any muscle mass on because of their genes. And I knew they were putting in the effort to try to put some bulk on them, and they just didn't have the genetics to do so. But genes have nothing to do with whether or not you're going to be slim or not. Because you can eat a horrible diet. I don't care what your genes are. You're going to have junk in the trunk. And I was a great example. Even though I was shredded, I had a 20-pound cesspool in me that took me 3 months to eliminate. It was the most exciting 3 months of my life. Every day was like Christmas for me. I couldn't wait to wake up and see garbage coming out of me and see the waste get smaller and smaller and smaller. So we have to realize that there are 7 major components of weight, and the most important component of weight we want to lose to get shredded is to do what it takes to get rid of this serpent, this cesspool inside of our body. 2 things. Flush it out, take a solid food vacation, get rid of all of it right off the bat, then eat the food you're designed to eat so it has the proper bowel transit time. Watch my video on bowel transit time to learn more about that. I'll put a link down below. We have to understand if you eat the right food, it's going to be in and out of you the same day. Now, there are a lot of people who are, again, doing this in an unhealthy way. So there's 3 main ways to do this, to be shredded and do it unhealthy. One is to starve yourself. Watch people on Survivors or Naked and Afraid, and they'll lose 30, 40 pounds in 30 days. And depending upon their body type going into it, they can come out of it with less muscle mass, but now they're shredded because they lost that subcutaneous fat. So starving yourself is not a healthy way to do it. Now, fasting is a whole different story, but you're going to lose muscle mass in that process. That's why I like a solid food vacation on juices instead of on water, because you can actually build muscle mass while you're on a solid food vacation on juices, because I know I've done it. I was able to put a whole inch on my chest in 30 days just by changing my routine out. Instead of lifting weights for 5 minutes a day, I would go lift my body weight for 10 minutes a day, 3 times a week. And I put a whole inch on my chest by doing that while I was on a solid food vacation on juices. So again, you can do it the healthy way. You can get shredded the healthy way by exercising and just by eating a nutrient-dense, water-rich, fiber-rich diet of raw vegan foods. That will do it. But you got to get the cesspool out of you. And then, of course, you can do it by starving. But the other way that's really popular right now is another form of starvation. It's where we use our backup system, where we kick in ketosis. But that's an extremely unhealthy way to get shredded. It works for several reasons. You can't eat very many calories that way, so you're going to accomplish that result. And it kicks in our backup system. It works because ketosis is what happens when our main fuel source empties. But that's unhealthy. Once you understand how our body's designed, you realize that this carbohydrate fuel tank that we have should be filled up every time we consume the food that wants us to eat it. The plant foods that are extremely high in carbohydrates. When we do that, that carbohydrate fuel tank never empties, and we never kick in ketosis unless we go into a fasting mode, which is what nature will tell you to do when you get sick. Every animal in nature knows what to do when they get sick. They stop eating. But not humans, because we're told we need the food for our strength, and yet the opposite is true. The more you feed the sick person, the more you harm him. If they don't have energy to move, they don't have energy to digest food. So again, there are unhealthy ways to get shredded. Please don't fall for this ketosis diet. There's so much misinformation about this whole approach, and lies that are told about how you're going to get weak if you eat a plant-based diet. That's poppycock. Watch The Game Changers when it comes out. Watch the trailer right now. You guys pushing eating animals, thinking that, oh, you're going to be wimpy if you don't eat animals, is absurd. And when you look at The Game Changers, you'll see that all these athletes that quit eating the animals and they went to a plant-based diet, their performance improved, and they've got the science to prove it now. We get more oxygen into the muscles. This also is good for the sex life, guys. The more meat you eat, the lower your libido as you age. In the beginning, it might irritate it. In the beginning, it'd be oversensitive. That's how things work, right? Hyper at first, then it goes hypo. That's usually how toxins work. We become exhausted after a while. And they point out in this documentary that a plant-based diet can increase men's testosterone levels by 20% in as little as 10 days. 20% in 10 days, and I get all these ridiculous comments saying, oh, John, you're on hormone replacement therapy. No, I'm not. That's absurd. I've had this physique for 37 years. It doesn't take much for me to maintain it. I don't spend much time in the gym to maintain what I got a long time ago, and I was really serious about being a competitive athlete. Putting in 7-8 hours of exercise every day. 50 hours a week. And I kept track of everything. I know I'm not exaggerating or embellishing. So I acquired that body type long ago. And again, once you acquire it, it takes little to maintain it. It doesn't take me but maybe 10 minutes. I've actually increased my routine slightly in the last couple months to add a few extra exercises I haven't done in a while. But it doesn't take long to maintain what you got. But the key is you have to realize how to get shredded. And what happens, and this is what I've noticed, as my body fat percentage started going down, I started seeing definitions and dimples in places I'd never seen before, like this dimple underneath my chest, or where my sternum is at, and my neck. I still got cute little butt pimples, ladies. Woohoo! Butt pimples? I said butt pimples, butt dimples. Oh my God, he's got pimples on his butt. No, I got dimples still, like, those sexy little dimples, because my body fat is low. Now, you women, you gain weight in this area. This is one of the things you lose the quickest, isn't it? So for you ladies, if you want those butt dimples, you got to reduce your body fat, but be careful. If you go down too low, you'll start ovulating and you'll stop menstruating. Now, if you eat the right diet, you won't have all those horrible symptoms that come with that time of year, but you're still going to be ovulating, and if you're not, something's wrong. And again, this is another lie that we're told by these people pushing the meat. Oh, these women, they lose their periods. Well, they may not have all that discomfort and hemorrhaging. That's not natural at that time of month, but they're still ovulating if they're healthy. If your body fat percentage goes down too low, we see this all the time with women athletes, that they stop ovulating and then osteoporosis kicks in at a very early age. So yes, there's a lot of ways to do things the right way and the wrong way. You got to do things the way that's going to make you healthy, folks. You got to realize that there are some foods that want us to eat it, and there's some that don't. I did videos on that. I put several videos to links on how to use your common sense to figure out what to eat, because there's a lot of confusion in this area. I also put links down to making sure you understand the bowel transit time of our food. Once you understand how important it is to eat the right food at the right time, make sure you don't create a bottleneck. But most importantly, don't put food in there that's going to take too long to go through there, because then you'll end up with that serpent that Victor Hugo referred to, because our intestines is shaped like a snake or a serpent. Again, I had a 20-pound demon inside me, and I was still a good guy. And when I got it out of me, I was even better. And that's what I think about all the time. And that's why I get excited about this, because I know the transformation people go through. I know when they go through it, they can't help but think, my God, if everyone on this planet could experience what I just experienced, we'd all be in for a treat.